We are back with another exciting video. Well, probably not exciting, probably more informative, but we're back with another video. As you probably noticed by the thumbnail, I'm doing a final inspection on a new mechanical system, heating, ventilation. I'm checking the furnace, gas furnace, and a new condensing unit. Probably a ton-and-a-half system, and I'm doing a final. I want to kind of bring you along, kind of show you what I look for. Hopefully you'll pick up some tips if you are having a new system installed, or if you have an existing system. Things to look for, things to watch out for, things you probably need to go back and check if you have an existing system, or if you hired a mechanical contractor and you're getting one replaced. Things you should look out for. I'm on my way there now in my work vehicle, driving, running a little late, but should be there shortly, and I'll pick back up once I get there. I hope you guys are having a great day. If you're new to the channel, if you're new to any of my videos, go back and check out all the videos. They're great videos. Like, as always, like, share, and subscribe, please. I try to keep you informed, I try to keep you up on what's going on inside and around the house. And with that, I will pick back up once I get there. Should be there shortly. Hope you guys are having a great day. All right, YouTube, we're back with another video, another exciting, informative video. I am going to take you through what I typically look for when I'm doing an inspection on a furnace and a condensing unit. If you have an existing home and you're looking to get one installed, a new furnace, a new condensing unit, new air conditioning system, heating, ventilation system, I'm going to kind of give you some things to look for when you're hiring a contractor, when you're hiring a mechanical contractor to do the work. These are some of the things that you should probably go back and take a look at. So I'm gonna just kind of go over some of the things that I look for when I'm doing a final inspection on a new unit. Down here in Georgia, these units, a lot of the units are, the furnaces anyway, are installed in the attic. This particular one is installed over the garage area, still the attic area, but it's just over the garage. And I'm gonna kind of give you some of the things I look for when I'm doing a final. This is a brand new home, newly constructed. So I'm looking at the final mechanical. This unit here is a carrier furnace. When I come in, I typically look for clearances around this type B vent. It's very, very important. It's a double wall type of connector. So it's got two pipes. It's got one pipe inside of another. It's a double wall. You need at least an inch clearance around this particular vent. So all this here, we need at least an inch clearance around that type B vent. That's pretty important because these vents get pretty hot. I mean, you have your furnace here. You got your burners. Pull this off here. If I can get this off, and I'll show you. But you got your burners here. This is your gas combustion chamber here, and all your flue gases are going up through here. right up through here. So we need clearance. We need clearance around this type B vent. It's a type B vent, double wall. It's a pipe inside of a pipe. You got gas, very, very hot gases coming up through here. Your gas combustion chamber is right in here. And we need clearances around this type B vent. So I'll check for that. This is your plenum box. Make sure that there's mastic. There's tape and mastic. Should be tape and mastic. And if you can see that, I don't know if you can, but they taped it first. Then they went back in through a heavy layer of mastic. Okay, also check your condensate line. So your condensate line here, make sure that it's going down at a downward slope and that it terminates on the exterior. It's all fed by gravity. So you really want that, to make sure that condensate is going at a downward slope and it terminates somewhere on the exterior. Always check that. With these particular units being in the attic, they require a float switch, which is right here. You see that? That's a float switch. Now if this pan, drain pan, if there's ever an issue with this unit and the condensate or this particular condensate line clogs up for any reason and it starts to fill up this pan, this float switch here, this is a float switch, and it senses that if it gets to a certain level, it senses, you know, the moisture, the condensate, and it shuts down the system. It's wired to this particular system, and it shuts it down once it senses that there's a level of condensate in its drain pan. That only applies if these units are up in the attic or these units are elevated in type of way. If this unit was on the ground on the main level, on the basement level or garage, that wouldn't be required. Since this particular unit is elevated, we need either a float switch, which is right here, or we need a line that will be piped, sloped, and drained to the exterior. Now you can have either one, the float switch or the drain line. A lot of times the contractors will do both. I've done inspections where they'll have both the flow switch and they will have the pan, that drain line pan, piped up and terminating on the exterior. But you need at least one. So I definitely check that. Make sure that there's either a float switch or there's a line terminating from the drain pan to the exterior. Okay, another thing that I look at is your gas line. Your gas line. This is your gas line here, as you can see. And it feeds down to a sediment trap. You always want to make sure there's a sediment trap in your shutoff valve. That's your shutoff valve for the system. Sediment trap. Always want to make sure that there's a sediment trap and a shutoff valve on this particular gas line for that furnace. And that's really it on this particular system. Also check for, this is your line set. The one that's insulated is your suction line. Always want to make sure that line is insulated. As you can see, and it's going out to the condenser. We'll go out to the condenser and I'll show you a little bit more about what I look for outside. Okay, we are outside now. We did a quick video of the furnace on the inside. Now we're on the outside. We're looking at the condensing unit. If you're having a new condensing unit installed, I'll give you some things to look for when you're having this thing installed. First of all, this is probably a 1.5-ton unit. First of all, you want to make sure that it's elevated. You have a pad. This particular one is plastic. You want to have either concrete, plastic. I think there may be another material that they use, but it's got to be elevated at least 3 inches off of grade. This thing has got to be elevated. This whole unit has got to be elevated. I also look for locking caps. If you can see that, these, I'm gonna zoom in on those.
if I can. These are locking caps for the refrigerant lines. There should be 2 of them. And there's another one. These are locking caps. They require a little Allen wrench type of tool to open them up. And they put that in the code book about, I want to say 8 to 10 years ago, because people were getting high on refrigerant. People were coming through. They were unscrewing these. Typically they have little plastic caps on these refrigerant lines. Kids were unscrewing them, getting high on this refrigerant and dying. So they put this in the code book that these caps now must be locking. So you need a little Allen wrench tool to unscrew these. And this is your suction line here that must be insulated, which it is. This is your disconnect line for the condensing unit. That's got to be attached to a structure, and it is attached, and it's got to be braced, supported, and it is. I'll look for those things. And one more other thing that I look for as well is on these particular units, they have a max breaker. So you want to check this label. If you're getting a new condenser installed, either you need to check it or have your mechanical technician to check this up against what you have on your electrical panel, because all these units, all these condensing units, have a max breaker on them in amps. This one is 20 amps. I was trying to zoom in on it so you could see it. I don't think I can. It may be right there if you can see that. But this particular, this is probably like I said, 1.5 tons. It's got a max breaker on it. So if you're getting a new unit installed, even if you have an existing condensing unit, I would go out now and check before the summertime hits, before the heavy air conditioning use starts to kick in. I would go out and check the max breaker on your condensing unit. Check it up against what you have in the outlet in your electrical panel, I'm sorry, and find you a competent electrician to swap that breaker out. If the breaker that you have corresponds to your condensing unit, and if it's oversized, you need that to be swapped out, because if there's ever issue with these units, the breaker won't trip and it could easily burn out that compressor. So that's pretty critical on that one. That's the most important thing I look for when I'm doing inspection on these, is that max breaker amp. And if you have 2, 3, 4, 5 condensing units, they all need to be labeled, and they all need to correspond to what's going on at the electrical panel. You have some out here that'll have breakers outside on the wall, and you have some, the breakers will be at the electrical panel. Either way, they all need to correspond to the condenser. They need to label the condenser and the breaker as well, and they all need to be, as far as the max outlet, you have a max, like I said, you have a max and minimum, it needs to be somewhere in between or at the max. And that's kind of what I look for when I'm doing these type of inspections. Make sure it's elevated, which it is. Make sure the disconnect is secured to the structure, and it's braced, it's supported. There are locking caps on this particular condenser, and the max breaker corresponds to what's on the electrical panel. So with that one, hope you guys found this informative. I want to make this a short, quick one. You guys got any questions, as always, hit me up down below, and I am out. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a great day.